So today we're going to talk about the first 5 chapters of the book, which make up part 1 of this, The Story of Success. Initial reactions as you read that first chapter that talked about successful hockey players.
It's something that we all see as parents if you're involved with parents of children who are in sports. You see the older kids and the ones that have birthdays aligned towards the calendar do seem to be a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit more successful.
But should we apply that to other areas? Should we apply it to academics?
Yes. And he says that, you know, the kids who start school at age 5 and 10 months, as opposed to the kids who start school at age 5 and 1 week, there's a huge developmental difference there.
Okay, talent plays a part, but then it also comes down to putting the time in. And he talked about that 10,000 hour rule.
I talk to my students about that in English. I say, you want to get really, really good at something, it takes 10,000 hours. You know, they've put in 10,000 hours playing video games, but writing, not so much.
But having the opportunities too is also important. And sometimes in our system, everybody doesn't get the opportunities.
No child is going to miss the mark. Granted, we're not going to produce thousands and thousands of NBA players. That's a given. We shouldn't discount the desire to try. Is the goal to be the shining icon? Well, maybe. If the kids don't get that, do they miss the mark? Absolutely not.
So as we talk about talent, practice, opportunity, and we're leading into the trouble with geniuses, that notion of what's important to your family, what's important in the culture that you grow up in, and the impact.
I think he highlighted issues that we have as a culture lost, I think, as a people. The respect and the honor that we give our parents and our grandparents, and how healthy it is and what these things produce in us physically. And I think that culture is very important, and when we start diluting it, the flavor and the taste will change.
Extremely interesting that idea of not challenging authority was tied to poverty.
I didn't interpret it as not challenging authority. I interpreted some of what Chris experienced as more of a what's the point of asking? So what do you see as the role of the school system in helping to teach this practical intelligence, the assertiveness, or the being willing to advocate for yourself? How can we as a school system help with that?
So I don't think the school system can, there's no way the school system can do it all. So I think the community has to help. Children
need to see these things in all of their interactions that they have. But I think they definitely get a large, if not more, social interaction in school than anywhere else. And
I also think that we need smaller groups in it so that everyone is heard and that we can decipher what the cultural background is and how it lends to that person.
There's talent, there's practice, there's opportunity, but he ends the part on geniuses with not rock stars, not professional athletes, not software billionaires, and not even geniuses ever makes it alone. And that's why having this conversation as a community has been so very, very important.
I think the beauty of this chapter is that he was taught that who he was excellence. He was taught from the home front, there's nothing more precious than you. It doesn't matter what the outside says. From its inception, maybe he wasn't spoken the word outlier, but it was subliminal. You are an outlier. And I think if we would tell our children, independent of what's going on around you, they don't matter. Their opinions, if they're negative, their biases don't matter. You are an outlier.